Hello, everybody. How are you doing? Thanks so much for coming and joining the Endure Through Fear next segment. I hope at this particular point you've been able to construct the path for the new you and identifying who you are by utilizing a lot of the material and discussions that we've been having. And overall, it's really a great program. To find the true identity, we have to understand basically how we go ahead and allow our key decisions to affect our overall thought process. And in order to do that, I want to discuss exactly what key decisions are, because sometimes we get lost in the mix. So first I want to talk about key decisions from a business standpoint. When you go ahead and you start evaluating strengths and weaknesses in business, you immediately start to find the individuals who can multitask, but at the same time make key decisions for the betterment of the company. So that individual making the key decision solely has to realize that they need to find out as much information as they can, have the ability to digest this information, because it affects many different aspects of the business, as well as the individuals who work in that business. Furthermore, it also affects the individual who's making that decision, because everyone is looking at the individual and making sure that their logic, their thought process, and all the other information that was gathered, that the correct decision was made. One of the things that's exceptionally confusing is when you have decisions being made by a group. Because although the group or the team can come to a logical decision, you have so many different personalities and you have so many different thought processes and values that the decision may be incorrect for the whole team. Each individual being different does not allow the fact of that decision to be community driven, because we're all different. So when you are valued in business as a decision maker, you are going to progress, but more importantly, you're going to be moving forward all of the levels that you work at as far as being successful in the company. Every successful decision, you start to show a history. The history then takes you to the next level, and so on. So understanding that decision process, although it's very basic, you then say to yourself, okay, now I'm balancing my life out. I have to go ahead and focus on my personal life. And in order to do that, I have to balance it out, and I don't know how to do it. So I need a point of reference. In today's life, especially being at home, there has to be a point of reference that is tangible, but also reminds you of how successful you are. When you look for that one particular item to hold on to, if you've been making strong decisions in business, regardless the level you've been at, it shows that you have proper understanding and behaviors that allow you to be a successful person. So when you're at home, you start making the same type of decision processes as you do in business. You have a point of reference. Now, what about those decisions you made when you were 12? Did you have all this information? Were you able to logically discern and come up with a decision that would go ahead and be an impact on everything you did? When you're 12 or 13 or young and you start making key decisions, those decisions are the basis of other decisions to follow. And the reason for that is they were comfortable. They were made in the moment. But as I alluded to in the past video, if you go ahead and talk to that 12-year-old, now you go out and you acquire all the facts and all the information as you would as an adult, then that decision would be different. And when that decision becomes different, it changes your whole thought process and changes your history. And just think about it for a moment. If we go back to the business decision that you made as an adult, you'll find that, if that decision took you one way, another decision would take you down another path. So what's very key and very vital is that we have to be open to going back and researching the decisions we made when we were younger in key parts of our lives And we need to understand that we need to go ahead and disassemble that thought process, which will allow us to look at the paths that now lay ahead. Key factor is we have to understand and appreciate that based on our limited skills when we were younger, the limited knowledge that we had, we made the best decision we could at that point. And by looking back from an adult standpoint, we now have the great benefit of re-investigating and rethinking that decision. So going forward, every decision that we're making will now be a response to the decision we're making as an adult, not being a response to the decision we made as a young person. The more information, the more mature we become, the better the thought process and the better the result, because we are now using our intuition sometimes to allow us to go down a better path. We certainly didn't have a developed intuition when we were a kid, and that allows us to only make limited identity decisions. So what is it that we do when it comes down to key decisions in our life? Well, what makes them hard to overcome? Well, when we're younger, we make decisions and we become confused. We're not really sure if this is the right thing to do. So when we're younger, we just go ahead and go, yep, let's try that one. Or when we're younger and we go to make a key decision, we start to make that decision on emotionally where we are at that moment. Again, key decisions are drivers. If you look at a key in your hand and you take it to a door, the key is going to open up the door. And behind that door is a room of many, many things. If you use a key to a door, but the key does not fit that door, you find another door that the key does fit. And when you open up that door, you have a tremendous amount of different things waiting for you. So key decisions will allow you to change the basis of where you currently are in finding your true identity. Key decisions, exceptionally important. So what can you do to go ahead and, as a way of testing your thought processes about your key decisions, how you've made them? I want to just keep it really simple. I discussed in the last video a few steps that you can take, but I like to re-highlight them and add some to today's assignment. I would strongly recommend that you go back to an emotional time in your life where you had to make a decision on the spot. I then would ask you to go, when you're at that position, look forward to where you are now. That decision you made back then, how has it altered the way you've progressed through life? And is that decision still part of your decision-making process today when it's in the same arena? It has to be the same type of emotional arena so that it will be apples to apples. Go back and investigate why you do what you do when it comes to that specific area. You'll start to find that it does tie back and that there are consistent patterns based on a decision when you were younger. An example is, what would you do if you knew X, Y, Z? And that's the example question you should be asking yourself. How would things be different if you changed that key decision? Again, if that key decision was with a different key to a different door, and that opened up, what would you do? Where could you possibly be? I want to thank you very much again for all your time. I hope this has been really helpful. I know that it has a lot of great information. I look forward to continuing this path with you. Again, be so excited for tomorrow. And remember one thing, there are ways of changing, and you're on a great path for that. I look forward to our next conversation. Take care. Bye.